Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm Simply G, and today I'm going to be showing off all of the anime that I got for this month of February 2021. The the month's gone really quickly, so there's a lot to talk about. Sadly, maybe happily, I don't know, but there's a lot to talk about. So rather than spend too much time on this intro, I'm going to get straight to it, and I hope you guys enjoy. Have some figures, actually prize figures. They're not, super fancy scales or anything. I pre-ordered these a long time ago, and I think COVID pushed them back for a while. But it's been a long time coming, but I finally received them, and that is these. I don't even know which company made these. I want to say. Okay, so they're Sega on the base here. So we have Kaoru, Nagisa, and Shinji Ikari from Evangelion. Obviously, with the new film coming out, and Evangelion being a hugely popular franchise anyway, and these two, I love Evangelion just generally. I love these two. I'm really excited for the next film. I already have a Kaoru and Shinji pair in their plug suits. But it's so rare that Shinji in particular gets figures. Kaoru has dozens upon dozens because he's a pretty sad boy. But Shinji does not. And this was a fairly decently priced Shinji. Obviously as a prize figure. He was at a price point and at a scarcity generally, in regards to just what type of figures Shinji gets, that I decided to pick him up, or pick both of them up as a set, and very happy with them. As I said, don't expect like Good Smile or Kotobukiya quality with them, but they are decent little figures for what they are. Starting with the anime, we have a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of UK sale stuff, but also some Australian sale stuff as well. So I will start with that. And the first thing I got from sales here in Australia is the part that I was missing from the series. It had disc issues when it was initially released, but I believe all of them have been fixed in the interim, and that is part 2 of Hunter x Hunter 2011. This is the Australian release. This one has 4 discs. So this contains all of the Heaven's Arena arc, as you can tell, and as well as the, what is it called? I don't know, Kurapika's arc. York New, that's what it's called. The York New arc. So you get a lot of episodes covered in this little bit. And the subsequent releases all have 3 discs, I believe. So in Australia, rather than being across 7 releases for the show, we're getting 5. And I would presume we'll be getting the movies at some point. But yeah, Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite series. Certainly one of my favorite shonen and Jump adaptations. I discovered the series through this show. I watched the first episode the day that it debuted on Crunchyroll and kind of fell in love with it immediately. I have a tendency to try series that get reboots, if that makes sense. I always feel that if a series gets a reboot, if it gets a newer, more complete adaptation at some point, that's more so a testament to how good the source material is, and that's not always the case, but I will always give those series a try at least, because who knows? There's obviously some demand and some reason that people might want more and companies might see it as being profitable enough to make a reboot. And very happy I did so with Hunter x Hunter. Just absolutely fell in love. And now I am, like with everyone, currently in hiatus hell, waiting for the manga to come back. This is just a really, really solid adaptation of one of the best series in Jump. And all of the cast and crew on the Japanese side, and I'm sure the English side as well. I haven't watched it dub. I can't tell you anything about that, but I love the voice cast, the Japanese voice cast, and just the amount of passion they put into this project. The Megumi Han and Maria Issei as Gon and Killua respectively are phenomenal. And I just love them. They're so good. They're so good at this. But yeah, so Hunter x Hunter, really wonderful. I really like all of the arcs. I know some people don't like certain arcs, but I always have a good time. And yeah, happy to be one step closer to completing this set for this show. Speaking of good Jump adaptations, the next series is also a pretty wonderful anime version of a comic that I really enjoy. It was one of the first series that I read by the Shonen Jump app, and I read it all in a day or a day and a half. And that is, of course, Astra Lost in Space, the complete series. This is a 12 or 13 episode series of the 5-volume anime adaptation. And this is a story of a group of teens who, in the far future, as part of their, high school, kids, high school students typically normally go to, on camp on this, other planet that's meant to be pretty safe, but there's no adults there. It's basically they get dumped on this island by themselves, and they have to try and adapt and teamwork and, become stronger, more independent individuals. And so none of these kids know each other. They're a little bit of an oddity. There are 2 students who know each other, which are these 2 here. They were childhood friends. And then her younger sister is also kind of put to the group, told to join in. And they are sent to this, camping camping planet, basically. But when they get there, there's this mysterious orb thing that starts approaching them, and all of a sudden they are transported into the emptiness of open space. And yeah, so they find themselves in the middle of nowhere in space, and they see that there's an abandoned ship quite close to where they are, so they all make it there. But unfortunately, there's no communication tech in this ship. There's no real navigation, and so they have to find a way to get this ship back to their home planet and tell everyone, hey, we're not dead. This weird, crazy stuff happened, but there is a traitor in their midst. Someone has been, messed with the communications. So there's this element of who's the one? Why did this happen to us? Who did this to us? Who in our group is the traitor? What are we? Oh, it's a mystery. It's a whodunit. As well as being a space adventure style story. It's very reminiscent of They Were 11, which is a pretty similar premise, a manga from Moto Hagio. Quintessential classic of 70s shoujo sci-fi. And this is just really good. I watched this after it had all come out via streaming, and just really liked this. I already like the series. I think this is just a really solid, decent adaptation. It's not super long. It's completed in the one season as well. So definitely check it out. Check out the manga. They're both great. And this is a series from the creator of Sket Dance, and they also have a new series. I don't really remember what it is, but that's just premiered on Jump. I can't remember what it's called, but so kind of a familiar face within Jump. Check it out. It's also quite funny. So yeah, this is another series that I got in the sale. So the sale specifically was like buy one get one free, or buy one get one free. And I have not watched this. It's been a very, 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 very long time since I made like a blind purchase in regards to anime. It's not something that I tend to do just because I always prefer to stream things. I don't want to be spending money on something that I might not enjoy, but I have been eyeing this series for a little while. It's been on my streaming list for ages. I just haven't gotten around to it, and it was on sale, and so I decided to pick it up, and I was fairly confident that I like it just because the premise sounds extremely my thing, and that is Midnight Occult Civil Servants. As you can tell, this is the Funimation release, which is just the standard Australian release, and comes with a slipcover like so, 2 discs, and yeah, and so this is a 12 or 13 episode series, I'm not sure, plus it has 3 OVAs with it, 12 episodes, the back is telling me, and I can't say whether this is good or bad, but it's definitely something I'm interested in, because I will read the blurb on the back of the slipcover where it says, "Civil servant work isn't easy, but when Miyako Arata starts his first day on the job, he didn't expect to deal with supernatural beings from around the world. Luckily, he has a gift that could help, if it doesn't make matters worse." So, I mean, that's very much in line with my interests, with my tastes, and so even if I don't love it, I do think that there's enough elements in there that I will probably enjoy it to some extent, and if not, hey, that'll just teach me not to buy things that I haven't tried prior, but it is one that I've been eyeing already prior to this, so it's not, I don't feel too bad about that. But yeah, if you have seen this, let me know your thoughts on the series, and yeah, it's because I'm kind of looking forward to watching it over the next several weeks whenever I have a moment to watch. I have some more solid little Shonen Jump adaptations. I promise I didn't mean that to be the theme, and I don't think there's any left in the stuff that I'm talking about, but that's kind of a bit of a coincidence. So this is Season 2 and Season 3, the standard editions of My Hero Academia. These are the UK releases that just come with the slipcovers. I mean, it's My Hero Academia, it doesn't really need an introduction. I have owned My Hero in several iterations over the past couple years. I initially had the limited edition for the first season, but then that was like very inconsistent with how they did subsequent seasons. And then I had the standard Australian releases for the show, but Season 2 and Season 3, because they're 25-ish episode long seasons, were in like part 1, part 2 sets, and so I just decided that I didn't want that, and I'd just wait for complete season sets, which obviously will come, like will be done at some point. It's a hugely popular series, and so I did, and they were on sale during the beginning of the year. So yeah, I mean, this is, as I said, it doesn't really need an introduction, but this is a Shonen Jump series currently running, and currently in some strife But it's a series about a teenage boy who lives in a society where 80% of people have quirks, aka some sort of superpower. But he does not. He does not, although he is a hugely dedicated hero fanboy. He loves the idea of superheroes and helping people, and he's always wanted to be a hero himself, but because he doesn't have any power of his own, it's kind of encouraged to give up on that dream. But one day he runs into or is rescued by the world's greatest hero, and his favorite, All Might, the number one hero. And he learns a secret about All Might, and he becomes, his pupil. And he is bequeathed the great strength, the many powers of All Might. And so, in doing that, he now qualified. Now he's hoping to follow his dream of being the greatest, best hero that there is. And he decides to enroll in UA, which is like the Japan's foremost hero academy or school, and it's about, all of him and his friends who are these heroes in training, and the many, many problems that arise, the many villain plots that keep trying to do terrible things to them and to the city, and it's like a fun time. I like My Hero Academia. I'm not caught up with the manga completely, but the anime is always a good time. Bones does a great job with it. And, like with most Jump stuff, it's not meant to change your life. It's not meant to be some hard-hitting piece on, society and things like that. It's just meant to be fun, superhero, action, stuff. And if there's some of that in there, then that's great. But I also don't see the point of being upset in a series for not being what it never really intended to be. But yeah, it's a fun time. I don't know what else to say about it aside from that. It's I've watched the 4th season, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm caught up. But the 4th season may have already started being released in English, but again, it's in like part 1, part 2, so I'm just gonna wait for the complete season 4 set. Season 5 is slated for later this year. I already own the 2 movies, as well as the first season, so yeah, just growing the My Hero adaptation collection little by little. Have some more of the Christmas sale stuff that I got from Anime Limited. So when they had their 12 days of Christmas sale, a lot of the titles that I ended up buying needed to be reprinted, or they were on back order, or whatever else. So they've just been shipping them out as, more have become available. And so the first thing that I got from them in this stack is the standard edition of Mind Game. This is the first, I think, or a very early work of Yuasa's, director of stuff like Ping Pong and Devilman Crybaby, etc., etc. This is a pretty odd little film about what is it about? I can't even remember. It's about some young people and one crazy wild night that they have. And I previously owned the Kickstarter limited edition Blu-ray for this. It was a Japanese Kickstarter or crowdfunded release, and I have seen this film before. I really enjoy Yuasa's work. This is not I wouldn't recommend this as the first of his series or his works to watch. I do think he's done better stuff in subsequent years, but it's nice to have it in the collection. I do like to own a director's kind of body of work if I do enjoy that director and their work. And Mind Game is an oddity, but worth the watch. It's one of those things that might be more entertaining if you're imbibing something. If you're not watching it, stone cold sober, have a drink or, relax however way that you do. It's a trippy, weird little piece, but definitely in line with what Yuasa has developed into his style. And happy to have this one, because it wasn't a film that I adored. So I did get rid of that crowdfunded version, that little limited edition. And when I saw that the standard edition in the UK during the sale was disgustingly inexpensive, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pick that up. Of course I am. I've been meaning to get it, and if I can get it for $3 versus $23, then heck yes." So yeah, Mind Game. From the sale was so this is one of Anime Limited's Funimation titles that they licensed before, or that they released under collaboration with Funimation before Funimation was like, no, we're gonna do this ourselves, and just screwed over everyone. As per usual in the UK, there's been so many contract changes and partnerships and breakdowns, certainly to a lesser extent than in the US, but I think the impact of those changes is much larger in the UK versus the US. But, so this is one of their titles that was released under their Funimation partnership that has since ended, so they were just trying to get rid of the last of the stock. And so I got this again for ridiculously cheap. I like this series. I like the manga of this a lot. I like this creator. And this anime was pretty solid, pretty decently good. I think they did a good job at capturing the good aspects of the series. And that is Kiss Him Not Me, which is the story of a high school girl, Fujoshi, absolutely madly obsessed with BL, boys love, and sort of otaku culture in general. But she's a super Fujoshi, and initially, she's quite heavy. She wears glasses. She's not seen as the most attractive person around. But one day, her favorite character is killed in her favorite series, and she locks herself away in her room and cries for a whole week. And when she leaves her room, when she goes back to school, she has transformed from her, chubby, kind of dorky loser self to a beautiful young maiden who's decided now to wear contacts and has lost all the weight, and because of the crying, her skin is glowing, etc., etc. And now has caught the eyes of all of these boys around her in school, and so it's about the romantic rivalry between, her reverse harem that she has, and but because of her Fujoshi status, she's not that personally interested in relationships, and so she sees a lot more romantic potential between the boys who are vying for her attention rather than with herself. So the premise is definitely one that is problematic. I don't like the idea of oh, she lost weight and now she's beautiful, in the same way that it's stupid to be like, oh, she took her glasses off and now she's beautiful. She was a horrendously ugly pig before. No. But I do think that, because Junko, who's the creator of this series, she is a BL mangaka, or was. She has written a lot of BL. prior to her debut in shoujo, which is what this is. So it's quite funny, it's quite self-aware, and despite that whole, transformation, overnight transformation into this beautiful girl, she doesn't change her personality. She's still the same person that she was. Over the course of the manga, there's different points where she kind of reverts back to her old self in her looks as well, and the way that each of the male characters deals with that is quite interesting. And I really like this series, the manga at least, because the best boy does win. I was worried that he wouldn't, but he does, and you don't see that in this series because this isn't a full adaptation of the manga, but the best boy does win. So just heads up to those who may be wanting to get into it. But yeah, Kay's an interesting character. She's likable, but also kind of a pain in the ass. And over the course of the series, she does become more self-aware of her own, problematic obsession with BL, insofar as it makes her blind to other people's feelings. And so I think it does a really good job at allowing the character to grow. I don't quite remember where this series ends, where the anime ends, but I do think that Brain Space did a pretty good job with capturing the fun and non-judgmental aspect of the story, and the self-aware, poking fun at Fujoshi without being mean-spirited that Junko does. Without it getting too mean about it. And despite, as I said, the initial premise being she loses weight and now she's beautiful, at least in the manga, it's something that for many of the boys, they recognize that that's something that has influenced their opinion on her and did change how they feel about her. But as I said, best boy wins, and he's the only one who recognized who she was. Didn't think he was her friend before she became beautiful, and that means he's a good person. He never judged her on her looks or her interests, and they have a lot in common. And dang it, I just really appreciate that. So, yeah, Kiss Him Not Me. It's not the best thing around, but I do enjoy the series kind of generally. The anime was really good from what I remember, and it was super cheap. So, yeah, I decided to pick it up. If it sounds like something you may be interested in, give it a look. Also, she has a girl in her harem, so if that's something that interests you as well, just putting it out there. Is another series that I picked up because I do appreciate the series, certain aspects of the series. I do like the series. I like the musical aspect of it. It's one of those series that kind of sits on the very fine line of melodrama for me. And I don't inherently think it's a perfect series. It has a lot of problems. But I do like it, kind of generally. I like a lot of the characters. I think it's melodramatic and tragic for tragedy's sake. But I do think that it's a pretty decent series overall. I like classical music a lot, which this has a lot of. And yeah, so this is Your Lie in April parts 1 and 2. Just the standard editions, again from Anime Limited. This is the story of a middle school or high school, I don't remember, I think middle school. A pianist, a teen boy who plays the piano, is a competitive pianist, but has kind of become disillusioned from music over the last several years. And he's lost his passion But one day he meets a very outgoing, vibrant young woman, friend who kind of forces herself into his life, who plays the violin, and she asks him to accompany her during competition, and thus resparks his passion for music. And it's all very, emotionally high strung, and there's it's quite tragic and sad, and oh my goodness, so much drama going on, which can be very hit or miss. But I did enjoy the series. As I said, the performance musical aspect of it was really great. I do like the cast for the most part. And yeah, again, this isn't a series that I really need to sell to anyone. It's hugely popular. A lot of people love it. It's not my favorite, and I have said before, I will always say that I do typically have issues with series that are kind of just this melodrama for melodrama's sake. But despite that, it's fine. It's good. I liked it. I liked it enough to buy the complete series for like $12-15. I wouldn't be paying Aniplex prices for it because that's crazy. And it is a beautiful show. Like the animation is lovely. It's kind of the whole package insofar as presentation. It's just the writing or general story that may be a bit hit or miss for people, including myself. So yeah, Your Lie in April. It's very, very, very good at what it needs to be good at. And yeah, just generally overall worth a watch at least. Like, obviously make your own decision with this sort of thing, but it's very popular for a reason, and it is good. My criticisms of it doesn't mean that it's a bad show. So yeah, get into the limited edition anime limited stuff that I got from the sale. So this one was a pre-order during the sale because it hadn't been yet released, and it finally has been released, and I'm super duper excited, super happy for getting it, and that is Millennium Actress. This is a Satoshi Kon film, personally my favorite Satoshi Kon film, and this is actually the 4K Blu-ray release. So it has normal Blu-ray as well as 4K. I do not have a 4K player myself, but I wanted to own this because when I love Anime Limited's limited edition packaging, I think it's beautiful. Plus, as I said, this is my favorite of Satoshi Kon's films, and yeah, just overall really lovely and wonderful. This is a film about an actress, a very prolific, famous actress who kind of explores and reflects on her life through the eyes of the various roles that she's done over the course of her life. It's really, really, really good. I love it so much. Satoshi Kon's films, just as a whole, are phenomenal. But this one's really quite introspective, quite unique in how it does explore this character and her life through the characters that she's had to become. And it's just super duper good and beautiful, phenomenal. It has a new dub. I can't say to how good or bad that is, but this is a series that did get a dub once upon a time in the UK. That's not the dub that's included on this. It's a new one. But yeah, so maybe if you're interested, check it out. It's well worth the watch. And I hope that, although it's not going to happen because Sony has their claws just hooked into it, but I do hope that we see Paprika maybe and Tokyo Godfathers making their way to Anime Limited, because this is the second of Con's films that they've put out in their nice limited editions, and I just want that for all of them. I just want that for all of Satoshi Kon's films. So yeah. Another limited edition movie from Anime Limited. This is one that I bought because I didn't have the film, and the limited edition was actually cheaper than the standard because it's obviously going out of print. They just want to try and get the rest of them out. But this is Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. This is the Blu-ray limited edition release that they put out with DVD and Blu-ray, if it would focus. But yeah, so this is kind of a unique release in that it's English vocal, so English dub only. I'm pretty sure it was like the dub came first and is the quote-unquote original language. But this is a very well-known adaptation of the Vampire Hunter D light novels, where D, this vampire hunter, as the title may suggest, hunts vampires, right? It's been a little while since I've watched this show, but it's one that gets pretty frequent playback on SBS, which is like a world channel here. It's one that seems to always be available to watch or stream somewhere. And yeah, it's a very good film. I like it a lot. It looks gorgeous. As I said, it doesn't have a Japanese track, but it's in the unique position where the Japanese is the secondary language track, despite this being anime and despite this being a Japanese property. Sometimes that's just how life is, and I also think that licensing means that the Japanese vocal track just isn't worth it for companies. I don't know if there's ever been a release of this film with the Japanese. I don't remember. But regardless, this is a solid little film. Have enjoyed it a lot over the many years, but I do need to revisit it just because it has been a long time. And yeah, I actually bought this, and my sister got a copy as well during the sale because she really likes the series. Or the film. She really likes the art. She's just into it, right? But yeah, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, very popular kind of classic anime film at this point, and available in many iterations. Maybe it's out of print in the US now, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sentai does another re-release of it because it's one that seems to be a perennial fave. Next was another series that was a pre-order from the Christmas sale. And this series itself isn't like fabulous, right? But I do enjoy it. I enjoy the light novels. And it's kind of amazing that we did get a new season of this so far past the original series' success. And that is Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory, aka Season 4, I guess, of Full Metal Panic. And you can see this comes in like a standard case with a very thick book. And of course the box itself, which I'm just throwing around the place. And this is the story of Sosuke Sagara, who is a child soldier for a military group called Mithril, and his sort of area that he works under is run by this character here, Tessa. She's in charge, but from the beginning of the story, he is put in place to act as bodyguard for this character here, Kaname Chidori, who has this, she's a whispered, she has kind of access to unbelievable forbidden knowledge in her brain. She's just kind of wired that way, and so has great potential for creating technologies and all sorts of things. I don't know, right? But in order to protect her from being kidnapped and abused and used for ill, he joins her school as a student. But because he is a child soldier who has never known the normalcy of a peaceful life, he definitely stands out, and crazy shenanigans and very violent conflict arises from that situation. So this release actually adapts, I think, novels 7 and 8, or 8 and 9. Yeah. So I have read 9 or 10 of the novels of this series, and you can see there's just one disc full of extras. Wow, that's a lot of extras. So yeah, you have disc 1 with the first 6, disc 2 with the next 6, a whole bunch of extras, I guess. And then this is unique to the UK release, and which is why I bought the UK release. So this is the audio drama, and they've subtitled it. It's available in English in its entirety, and that adapts the Very Merry Christmas book, which is book 6, and is kind of crucial to understanding. It's a whole novel's worth of content from between the last stuff, like season 3/2, the second raid anime, and this season of anime. So it's bridging the two series, and it's not that you're not going to be able to understand everything in Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory without listening to it, but it does clarify and kind of introduce some things that are more important in this newer season. I like having a complete collection. We know this. And I wasn't 100% sure on whether the standard re-release of this would get the audio drama after a point, so I just decided to pre-order the set, despite I'm probably not going to have this part on the shelf. The box is lovely, but I just have standard editions of Full Metal Panic. It's not a hugely important thing for me to have, but you can see lots of artwork, lots of stuff. As you may also tell, they have the, what are they called? I don't know. Arbalest is what his thing is called. AS. They're called ASs, which is just their name for mechs, basically. They're attack strikers, or so, I don't know. It's been a little while. I don't remember all of the jargon from the series, but I like the series a lot. I hope to finish the light novels relatively soon. There's 12 in all, and the novels have been relicensed by J Novel Club, so check them out if that's something that interests you. Yeah, happy to have this, and nice to continue the collection. I do hope that we see a subsequent season to this one, because it leaves on a big cliffhanger, and I think that if we have another season, we'll be able to adapt the whole series, the whole amount of the novels. So that would be great if we could do that, actually. We have another Funimation series that was released in the UK, I think, in partnership with Funimation and Anime Limited. And my copy actually has a bit of damage to the box, but that's fine because I'm going to be repurposing this box, because I didn't buy it because I wanted the fancy limited edition. I bought it because I wanted the show. It was super cheap. Or I've seen the show. I did like the show. It was cheap enough for me to, get it. But I will be repurposing the box probably in the future for another series that I care more about, right? And this is Rage of Bahamut Genesis. This is a show adapting, you can see that this is the damage here, adapting a mobile game, I think. But despite that, it's a pretty, like, interesting, solid, compelling show. I don't really remember anything about it. It has, like, demons, some fantasy setting. It comes with a really, big booklet, but it's all line art and, like, keyframes and stuff, which is pretty cool, but it's not, like, I don't typically enjoy these sorts of art books, or extras. It's not really my favorite thing. So I think I will either just have these on the shelf, like so, or compress them into one case and just have that on the shelf. And as I said, repurpose this box into something else. Ooh, knocking the camera. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid little series. It's not brilliant, but again, it was on sale and I did enjoy it enough to want to rewatch it at some point. So yeah, and I haven't seen the follow-up season. I don't know. I don't remember if I've heard good things about it. I know it was kind of left to Amazon streaming hell, but hopefully, considering how certain publishers have been getting those titles recently, we may see them, and we may see it available at some point. So yeah, Rage of Bahamut Genesis. So all of the anime that I got for this for this month of February. I can't believe it's the end of February already. Wow. But yeah, lots of sale stuff, lots of UK releases in particular. A series that I hadn't seen, which is quite an unusuality to my collecting and just generally my ethos for my hobby. But I am looking forward to watching. And yeah, let me know, you guys, if you've seen any of these series, if you agree, disagree, leave comments. I love it. And I do try to respond to as many as I can. Otherwise, if you are wanting to reach out to me or ask me questions, whatever else, and you're not wanting to leave a comment, you can always follow me on social media. I'm on there very often on Twitter at CollectingG, all one word. It will be linked in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. I do post a lot of things, not only haul videos and recommendation videos and first impression videos, but also the podcast that I co-host with my good friend Ray from Whimsical Pictures, where we talk about manga, genres and series and creators and themes and things like that. It's something that we're both pretty proud of, and currently just released our 20th episode. So it's a monthly podcast, and yeah. And as well, I also do a weekly live stream. Typically, I talk about all of the books that I've read over the course of the week. Not this week, I didn't read anything, so we just kind of hang out. We had a bit of a Q&A, but if that's also something that you're interested in, be sure to subscribe so you can keep tabs on that. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your time until I speak to you next. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye till then.